Welcome back to Spending Our Kids' Inheritance. This time we're going to be doing a ship's tour of the Majestic Princess. This is from a recent trip we did from Los Angeles to Santiago, Chile. I'll be starting this tour on Plaza Deck 5. This is at the midship elevators. I do generally like to start low and work up. So we're starting here towards the rear, and this is the Symphony Dining Room, one of 3 dining rooms on this ship, main dining rooms. The dining room itself was laid out nice, had good space for people to move around, decor was nice. All in all, pretty good. This is the dining room that we ate at most evenings. It is the dining room for the anytime dining, casual dining, they now call it. So you just show up, no reservations needed. As we exit the Symphony Dining Room, the midship elevators are just to the left, or the worker went over that way. Over there you have a bank of 4 elevators, as well as the 2 that service the plaza itself with the glass walls on them. To the right here is Future Crew's office. Captain Circle Future Cruise, I think, is what it was labeled. And on the right now, as we move forward, is the princess shop, basically, where you can get all the princess brand merchandise, but they also have snacks and other general items. This is the plaza area here that we're coming into. And we have Vine's Wine Bar ahead and on the right. Nice little area for sitting. As we pass Vine's, we come into a little hall area here. This takes us through to guest services on the left. On the right is the Harmony Chinese restaurant. This is one of the specialty dining restaurants on board. They did have it locked up. The doors were locked, so I wasn't able to go in and get any video inside, but it looked nice. We did not try it. You can see the guest services desk on the left. As we continue forward, we have the shore excursions desk here on the right, and forward more is the Lotus Spa. The spa is again one of those extras on the ship that we do not utilize. So we didn't go in. I didn't go in and wander through. I don't know. I just don't like wandering through the spa area when I'm not actually using it. I guess it's just me. And here, one more shot is the guest services desk. As we depart guest services, heading back towards the rear, you'll notice the glass case on the right. That is where they had photos and some memorabilia stuff from the naming ceremony. The naming ambassadors in this case were the former NBA basketball star Yao Ming and his wife Ye Li. This ship was, from what I could tell, originally intended for the Chinese market. So you'll notice most of the signage around the ship, plaques for the names of the places like the dining rooms, cafes, bars, things like that, are in both English and Chinese. Now we come to the International Cafe. This is pretty much the last thing here on Deck 5. This is on the port or left side of the ship, and it's one of the places, or the only place really, that was open 24 hours where you can get, I'll say, snacks. This was early in the morning, so of course they have all the little pastries and a few breakfast sandwiches out, but during the rest of the day, you have a wide variety of sandwiches, ham and cheese, turkey, tuna, all kinds of things like that. And of course, there's the little coffee bar there, which I'm not sure if they actually served regular coffee, but they did do all the specialty coffees. Never asked to see if I could get a regular coffee there. Well, that completes the circle. We now make the turn back to the elevator bank here where we started our tour. Before we depart deck 5, I did want to give you a better view of the plaza itself. As you can see, the plaza on this ship takes up 3 decks, or extends up through 3 decks. On the Island Princess, it was 4. They're also decorating for Christmas. As you can see, they're starting to put up garland and ornaments and lights. Got a nice sized tree going up, one of many that were on the ship. Now we move on to deck 6, but I'm actually starting on 7. I wanted to show you guys the entrance to Allegro dining room. This dining room is at the back of the ship and only accessible from deck 7, well, or the elevator banks at the back, I should say. But yeah, if the Allegro is the traditional dining room, so where you have early and late seating, you sit at the same table with the same people. So if you decide for traditional dining, you will need to go to the back of the ship up on one of the higher decks. You cannot access it from deck 6 walking to the back. So taking one more look at the deck plan, you'll see at the bottom, the lit up area, that is the Allegro dining room. The dark area above it is the kitchen, which explains why you can't just walk back from forward area of deck 6. So now we've moved forward and back to deck 6. This is the Concerto dining room. This is for reservation dining. So if you want to make reservations for a specific time every night, not necessarily at the same table or with the same people, this is the dining room that you will likely be using. It's pretty much the same as the Symphony downstairs. Coloring, I think, was a little bit different. I'd have to go back and look at the videos a little closer, but basically the same layout and everything. Again, nice dining room. It was pretty roomy. Some of the areas seemed a little bit more congested than when we were on the Island Princess. But all in all, a nice layout. We now exit the Concerto dining room on the port or left side. As we do, we will turn right and go back past the elevators. These are the midship elevators. Well, actually, stairwell on the right and the staff elevators on the left that I did. Now we come into the midship elevators. The two in front of us there are the Plaza elevators, and you can see the Plaza. And behind me are the other 4 elevators. As we come around to the starboard or right side of the ship, you'll see Alfredo's Pizza there on the right. Get a better view of it here in a minute. And here's a little view out looking over the plaza, piazza. And you can see they're still working on the garland here. And here, back looking on the right again, is Alfredo's Pizza. Did see some people eating there. We did not eat it. We had just previously gotten off Island Princess, and on the Island Princess they had good and free pizza, so could not see paying extra for pizza. I will have to say the pizza in the buffet was so if you want good pizza on this ship, that may be the place to go. It's a little interesting interactive art piece, I think, but I was kind of bummed. You can see the ball stuck there on the little stairway. Now we continue on, still going towards the front of the ship, and we come to the casino. This is, I would say, a good-sized casino, definitely bigger than what it was on the Island Princess. Probably the biggest casino that I've seen on a princess ship, at least. Well, any ship. Did not see a lot of people, but we didn't go through here later in the evening when I'm guessing it would be a little busier. Now on deck 6, You have to pass through either the casino or they got a high roller VIP section that you'll see in a moment. But going up to the showroom, this is the deck 6 entry to the showroom. The forward elevators are to my left. We just passed the hallway that leads to those. And here we're coming into the lower level of the theater. The ship does have access to the theater at 2 points or 2 levels, deck 6 and deck 7. Now this is a pretty good sized theater based on some of the previous ships we've been on, but this ship does show a max capacity of about 3,500 passengers, so I could see the need for a large theater. One comment I guess I will provide is that the seats did seem narrower than those on the Island Princess when we were on it. As we exit the theater on the port or left side, one of the things they have just before hitting the casino again is an arcade. Yeah, decent size. Had a few games. I did not go in and mess with any of these or play with any. A few claw machines, a few video games. Looked like it could be enjoyable if you have kids that are into that kind of thing and don't mind spending the extra money, because of course this is all extra. Exiting the arcade, turning right, heading towards the rear of the ship now. This takes us into what is labeled on the outside as the VIP casino. You can see the bar on the left, and there are some table games on the right. But this other section over here is set up a little bit more like a sports bar. I believe they had a few games, football games and that on in here during the cruise. Did not come through here when it was busy. It's one of the, here and the casino are both inside areas on the ship where smoking is allowed, and I can't stand the smell of smoke, so I just avoided them when people were in there. Now we're back out to the Plaza area. We have the photo area over here, where you can get your souvenir photos that they take of you when you board the ship and in ports and on any nights when they have their photo booths set up. Quite a large area. And then after that is the art gallery. Again, another smaller area, mostly paintings, few sculptures. Again, not really into art. I appreciate it, but I'm not going to buy it. And that brings us back to the Concerto dining room and finishes up this deck. Next up is deck 7. We're now on deck 7, and we're going to start this tour at the aft elevators and on the left or port side of the ship. We're entering what is labeled as the Vista Gaming Lounge. It's kind of an odd name. I don't know that I ever saw any gaming going on in here, but it is one of the showrooms on board the ship. It's a nice little area, a little congested in spots. There were times when they had things, and if you have people sitting in all of the chairs down between some of these aisles, it can get difficult to try to squeeze through. And you can see what I'm talking about here. If those chairs were pulled out and people sit, you wouldn't get through that area. So there were times when there were empty chairs kind of in the middle of those areas, but might be hard to get to. I did come in a couple times, saw a comedian in here, Carlos, and came in for some of the Spanish lesson classes. They were pretty much basic, more basic than my Spanish. But it was a nice lounge. I think I sat in here one or two mornings when it was cold outside and just enjoyed the quiet and the music. They had good music usually when nobody was there. So now we exit the Vista Gaming Lounge, and you'll see here's the elevator bank where the rear elevators are. Continuing forward now on the right or starboard side of the ship, we come to the library on the right side. Very, very small library. There were not very many books in here. I think I almost passed it and realized what it was. But you'll see they did have some games, a lot of, trying to think, backgammon and chess games, things like that. They had a shelf full of cards that, decks of cards, brand new. You'll see them in there. Yeah, backgammon, checkers, I think chess, a lot of those types of games in there. The cards, although they seem to go, I grabbed a pack the first morning. There was a whole bunch of new packs in there, and by the second day, the shelf was empty, but I think by the third day, it got filled back up again, so they just kept restocking it. Now, exiting the library, on the left here, we have the Crown Grill and Bar. So the Crown Grill is one of the specialty dining areas, that being the steakhouse. The bar is a bar. Again, another nice little area to sit during, I'll say, off times when things are more quiet in the morning or something like that. I do believe I saw a couple of the groups meeting back here in the Crown Grill. A craft group, I think, and maybe some ladies knitting. But aside from that, it's just a steakhouse, specialty dining. Exiting the Crown Grill and Bar, still heading towards the front of the ship. You've got some extra seating area here, one of those areas that people would often be just hanging out during different times of the day. This is kind of a long hallway here. It stretches along this side of the ship. You have a little bit more seating on the right here. And as we come a little bit farther forward on the left side, we have the Princess Live Theater. Now, the Princess Live Theater is where they did some of their shows. They had some of the quiz games in here. They also did the Princess Live show, which is put on the TVs when they talk about some of the things, events, places coming up, things like that. I think they do a few game shows in there as well. As we exit Princess Live and continue forward, you will see on the left area, well, as we continue forward, it'll be on the right, the medallions area. And then on the left is the, what do they have it listed as? Princess Live Cafe. You can get coffee and drinks there. But the medallion area is where if you did not pre-order a medallion wearable, that's what they call them, the little bracelets and watch type bands, necklaces, they have clips, things like that. If you're somebody that prefers to see and maybe even try on things before you buy them, this is where you'll go once you're on the ship. They have all the medallions available, and you can choose one and just charge it to the account. Now, continuing forward on the left, we have the midship elevator bank, and we are coming up to the Plaza again, Piazza. Now we are on the top deck, so you can see here this is deck 7, and you can see down that deck 6 and deck 5 at the bottom. Now that we've seen an overview of the plaza, we have the specialty watch store. Going to start getting into a lot of the stores here. Shopping, shopping, shopping. Another one of those big things people like to do on cruises sometimes. Not me, but some people do. There were a couple stores here for shopping. There was I think this was a Tag Heuer on the right. And continuing on, we will come into the, for lack of a better word, a shopping mall. The Shops of Princess. This has got several stores in here. The Effie store is in here. This is, I think, perfumes on the right. But during the day when we were at sea, they would have little tables and that set up outside. We've picked up a few things in here. Their sale stuff that oftentimes is from an evening before or a cruise beforehand, leftovers from maybe the season before. But through the shops on deck 7, we have access to the, I think that's a future cruise desk or something. Anyway, onward on the left side, you can see the stairs. That is the forward elevator banks are in there. And this brings us into the Princess Theater. This is the deck 7 entrance or entryway. And you can see a nice overview from up here. So thing to note is that I do have my wide angle adapter on my camera. Sure you've noticed the little gray areas in the corner, but I think for doing my ship tours and that, it helps give a little bit more of a better view, better image. If anybody disagrees and doesn't like the black, let me know. Leave a comment. If enough people don't like it, maybe I'll stop using it, but I think it provides a little bit better view. Exiting the Princess Theater, now on the port or left side of the ship, heading towards the back. We pass the elevators on the left now, and we return to the Princess shops. Now, that goes in through one of the shops, rather than, I think those doors were actually closed because the shop's closed. So during the day, you can go through that shop and get back into the mall area, the center of the mall area. I'm going to go back around, so I'll do a little time warp here and jump ahead to the end. So we now are exiting the shops area, heading back towards the plaza, and on the left side of the ship, port side, we have Rudy, the Catch by Rudy. This is one of the other specialty dining options. This is their seafood restaurant. Some of the seating, when it's open, has nice views over the plaza. So I did see a few comments and reviews and that. Some people don't like it because when there's music and things going on downstairs in the plaza, you of course can hear everything sitting up here. So if you want a quiet evening enjoying your seafood, this may not always be a good option. They are supposed to be dry docking this year, I think, the end of this year, and doing some retrofitting. One of the things I've heard is that the Catch will be relocated. Decks 8 through 15 are all guest rooms, so we now jump up to deck 16. So we'll start this deck at the forward elevator bank. We are on the left or port side, heading to the rear of the ship. This short walkway here brings you out to the pool deck. This is the fountain pool. You have a couple small pools, one on either side of the fountain, and this is where you'll find the fountain, where they have the fountain shows. I'll say occasionally at sea. During our cruise, I know it happened at least twice. We caught the end of one show and caught another one. here you'll see the noodle bar. This is something that was different on this ship. Something else that we hear may be going away in the retrofit. You have in the center a bar, and over on the other side we have the what is it, lobster burger grill, burger and lobster grill. Yes, all the burgers and hot dogs were all free, but they did have lobster rolls, which were extra. I did, I tried to get a shot of the video there. You may be able to read the price. I want to say I think it was 30 bucks, $35, something like that for the lobster roll. Did have a friend on the cruise, somebody we had met on the Island Princess when we did our transatlantic. He happened to be on this cruise as well. He did try the lobster roll and said it was nothing special. Some kind of frozen lobster roll thing that they bring out and heat up, cook, fry, whatever. But he said it really kind of lacked flavor and texture. He was not impressed. So yeah, we'll continue walking around. As you saw back there, I got a little view of the deck where the fountain is. And here we come into some outside seating. Kind of overflow, I think, for the buffet. We've got the soft serve ice cream right here. And the bar, there's a bar on the other side. They also have these neat little bridges, I guess you'd call them, that extend out over the edge of the ship just slightly. And as you can see, the lower deck, there's two of these, one on this deck and one above on 17. But the ones down here on 16, we've got a glass floor, so as you're walking across them, you can look down and see the ocean below you. Of course, this is a little early in the morning, can't see a whole lot other than blackness. Here's a photo I took giving you a better idea of what the bridges look like. This is from deck 17 looking down. All right, now we continue towards the rear of the ship. We are now on the right side of the ship instead of the left. This is Swirl's Ice Cream closed up there on the left, and we're going to go in and check out the buffet. Here we are at the World Fresh Marketplace, the buffet on the ship. The buffet on the Majestic Princess is at the rear of the ship on deck 16. One of the differences that I noticed from the Island Princess and previous princess ships that we had been on is the buffet is arranged with the majority of food being on these aisles like this here that go between the port and starboard, or left and right side. So instead of having one long buffet down each side, you have these shorter, for lack of a better word, like hallways that run between the left and right sides. Now, one of the downsides of this that we found out when we were there is that not all of the options are available in all of the areas, I guess I would say. So this is kind of a main area towards the pool. This is the closest section to the pool. And there are two more sections towards the rear of the ship with main items and salad and all that. Here we have the pastry bakery area. So most of the desserts, pastries, breads you can find here. There are some breads that you'll find at the other end towards the rear of the ship, but the majority of options, at least, will be found here. As we wander around, making our way towards the back, I do want to point out that, I mentioned there being different sections. You may find, if you're dining here, that there's something you like that's in one of the sections. If you're close to a changeover, you may want to make sure you get enough of it, because once they start changing over or closing down at the end of the evening, if they close that section, you can't get it. It's not like for instance, the Island Princess, when we were on, they closed one side. you just go to the other side and everything is still there. So that is one thing to note. You can see here as I wander around that there are there's good dining option, good room for seating. I don't think we ever had a time when we couldn't find a seat. This is basically to the rear. Here's those little round quiches were one of my favorite things in the mornings. The last area I want to show you is right at the end of the ship. It is the Wake View Bar. While there is a bar area there, I think the majority of people I saw sitting out here and making use of this area most of the time was people eating at the buffet. It was a nice area to come sit if you like to sit outside. This could get a little windier than the area by the pool, but both were nice. There was only probably a few days when we were at sea where there was a bit of probably a crosswind, I think, and it got a little windy, but for the most part, this was a nice area to sit and eat or just sit and in the case of me and one of my friends, we'd sit out here in the mornings and play cribbage. Well, that wraps up deck 16. Let's move on to deck 17. All right, here we are at deck 17. This is the forward elevator area, and I'm going to take this center hallway, short hallway. This goes into the Hollywood Pool. Let's see, Hollywood Pool Club, I think is the name. Kind of sounds like an exclusive area, but it's not. Everybody can go in here. This is the indoor pool. It was laid out kind of nice. Had a fair amount of seating. Had these neat, cute little cabana things around the two sides, kind of alternating. You have, one closed, one open spot, closed, open spot. They tended to be free. We went up and grabbed one a couple days and sat and just enjoyed the view. The only downside, I would say, and kind of noticed in previous cruises in the indoor pools, is a bit of a chlorine smell. I think it was worse in here than it was on the indoor pool on the Island Princess, but it wasn't too bad. The other notable difference is the hot tubs here were not the hottest. On the Island Princess, the ones that were at the indoor pool were the hottest. And then this goes continuing forward. This is the front of the ship. You have the Hollywood Conservatory. Again, kind of looks like it should be a special private area, something like that, but it's not. And these, again, little rooms off to the sides do not cost anything. They had TVs in them, or at least a couple of them did. You'll see there was somebody in there. This is like 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning that I'm walking, and there was already somebody in there staking out one of those. I did notice the ones up here with the TVs tended to get staked out real early in the morning, and they would be busy all day. They also had spread throughout these musical instruments. Would have been kind of nice if they had some kind of like music sheet, if the areas were color coded and you had something that would help you play some music. But yeah, I guess if kids are in here, they would have a ball with it. They did have a lot of these card tables, so I saw a lot of people in here during the day playing mahjong, dominoes, things like that. So it was a nice little area. We are now on the left or port side of the ship, exiting the Hollywood Pool area. This door is one of the side doors, so there's the center door I came in on the video, and now there's also the two side doors that go directly out on the decks. This area on the right over here is a seating area. One of the things I did note on this ship is there is a fair amount of outdoor deck seating. Some of it is chairs like you saw that were still secured there. And then there's a fair number of loungers. Lily, as you know, if you've watched my other one, is a sun lover. And she really didn't have a hard time finding a lounge chair to relax on the sunny days when we were at sea. So coming through the windbreaks here, we will be overlooking the main pool, or the fountain pool. I think they call it the fountain pool on this ship. And you can see down below us the pool area, one of the hot tubs, the fountain deck area there in the middle, and of course the big screen for movies at sea. Up here on deck 17, you can see the shower on my left as well as one of the hot tubs. There's 2 hot tubs up on deck 17, 2 down on the pool. And we'll make our way down towards the back of the ship. You can see the deck up above. There is one more deck up, actually 2, I think, technically, but yeah, there's a running track up above, and I think that's where we'll head here, crossing over. This area here that I'm crossing is where they sometimes have band set up. So they'll, on occasion, like sea days, they'll have some live music out by the pool. Yes, crossing around, this was the side. So on the right side, or starboard side of the ship, on deck 17, you have ping pong tables. And I believe there was 4 down this side. So you can see they're actually set up kind of nice. They're screened in well. I think I only saw once or twice coming by where I saw a ping pong ball roll out from one, and it might have came through the door area. Sorry about the close-up of the screen. I felt the need to close that door for them. Onward continuing towards the rear of the ship. So as we pass the ping pong tables, you'll see the stairs going up to the walking, jogging, running track, which is up above. And we have a couple more screened in areas, or one more screened in area where they had some ship supplies, I'll say. And then this door here goes to the fitness center. So the fitness center is towards the rear of the ship on the right or starboard side. And it was pretty well laid out. Had a lot of treadmills, which seemed to get a fair amount of use. We used them a couple days. Came in, tried out the weight equipment. The equipment was all in good shape. Had a good variety. You can see they have the ellipticals, and they have the treadmills, and they have some bikes. Not as many bikes as other things, but it didn't seem to be a problem. Didn't seem like people were always waiting on bikes. I did come up and used a bike down here on the end, and I tried out a few of the other things. So yeah, it was a nice fitness center. And exiting the fitness center here takes you into the rear elevator area. There's the fitness center sign. That goes out onto deck. And here is the rear elevators. On this deck outside, I think is also, I don't think I walked through it, but that's where you'll find the smoking area on the ship, is all the way at the end on deck 17. So that small elevator in front of us provides access up to the deck 18, where the walking track is at. And down this hallway, we'll find the different children's centers. There's 3 of them on the ship. Jump ahead to the end. Like magic. So this is the first area, all the way at the end of the hallway. And this is the beach house. This is for 13 to 17-year-olds. You can see the hours of operation there. If you are traveling with kids, that'll give you some reference. And then we come back a little bit, and again you have closed door, Camp Discovery. And here, this one is for 8 to 12-year-olds. Again, there are the hours of operation for anybody that might want them. And then this one here is for the younger ones. And let's see, 3 to 7-year-olds. The treehouse. So that's the kids' areas, towards the rear of the ship again, right off the rear elevator banks. All right, so now we'll do a teleportation zoom and outside. So those doors right there go into the rear elevator area where we were just at, with the kids club and fitness center all being in there. So outside here on deck 17 is the smoking area. You see that stairs on the left go down to the area outside the buffet. So you could actually go right down the stairs and into the buffet if you want. But this is where the smoking area, the outdoor smoking area, is on the Majestic Princess. And one of the last things about deck 17 is it tends to be where people gather when we're departing ports and arriving. So if you're out on deck 17 on the Majestic when you're departing, you might catch the Love Boat horn. All right, so now we move on to deck 18. Very small, separated, I guess you'd say, area. It's kind of in two pieces, one short or one small at the front, one small at the back. This is the back of the ship. Here you'll find the, what do they call it, the sports deck, or the, they have basketball and pickleball. I think I saw them even playing badminton there. I'm going to call this decks 18/19 because back here there is a small putting green up here on what would be deck 19. I don't believe there is a deck 19 towards the front of the ship. The putting green, looked like it might be fun. They had you'll see a golf bag here. Had some putters in it, had some balls. These rocks were movable. I don't know. I mean, they're just rocks. But I did see one shifted out, and I imagine that you could probably take and kind of set a few out if you wanted to do a miniature golfish kind of thing with some obstacles in your way to make it a little more difficult. But that's the putting green. Coming back down to deck 18 here. This is at the rear here, this is where the jogging track is located. One downside with it is that you have to go through the sports deck area. That right there is the elevator. I'd pointed out the small individual elevator when we were down on 17. Down below us right now is the smoking area at the back. So then coming around the corner here, you can see we have to go through the little basketball area. Basketball, pickleball. I think I saw pickleball more than anything in here. I think they did a couple pickleball tournaments during the cruise. And this is one of the wider areas. They do have a couple binocular setups on either side, and they had some shuffleboard. Never saw anybody playing shuffleboard. Did not see any shuffleboard stuff out. I'm guessing maybe if you ask somebody, they might be, they might have it somewhere, considering they have the shuffleboard layout there. We're heading towards the front of the ship now. And then here, when it makes this turn, you'll see that the walkway starts to get narrow. One more look out at the sunrise here. So one of the things with this walkway is they do have a suggested, I guess you'd say, walk direction, walk run. And you can see that this is narrow right along here. And the one downside I noticed is that as I back up here into this corner, you will see that there is the arrow for the suggested walking route. Those signs, there are two of them. There are one at the top of this stairs, one at the top of the other stairs. Downside of this, two downsides that I noticed, is that if you come up from the back where the smoking area is, there was stairs back there, you don't see any signage. Also, if you come up those stairs come up by the where the basketball court is. There is no signage there indicating a preferred direction. The signs also are one of the few signs on the ship that are not in both English and Chinese. So those are two problems, and I noticed a fair number of people walking the opposite direction. Here's a area we're right below the big screen where they do the movies at sea. And it does give you a nice little overview of the pool deck area if you want a picture of that. So yeah, there were not a lot, but there were definitely a few people every day walking the opposite direction. During the cruise, we were on the Facebook group for the cruise, and I can tell you there were definitely complaints probably almost daily about people walking the wrong direction. And it's, like I said, with the bad, what I would consider bad signage, and only being in one language, I think it's hard to complain about. I think they should have arrows probably on the deck, and they should have some more signs, even if they didn't put the signs in English and Chinese both. The arrows on the deck going around would definitely help. One thing to note, I'm talking about it, signs being in English and Chinese. This cruise had more Chinese passengers on it than I think I had ever seen on a cruise we've been on. I believe when the captain was doing country counts at the beginning of the cruise, we had I think it was right around 600 out of I believe it was about 3,000 total passengers on board when we sailed. 600 of those were Chinese, so it's a fairly large chunk. If I had to guess, I would say because this ship was, from what I've read, originally intended or built for the Chinese market, and probably started its life in cruising around China and that market, it might have become a favorite ship for the Chinese. So that may be why we had so many on there. This is just a guess, I don't know, but there definitely was more Chinese on this ship than I have seen. Lots of large groups. Well, that pretty much wraps up the ship tour. Before I go, I wanted to share a few tips and, of course, this nice little picture. First tip is this. It's kind of a shoe holder. We picked it up, I think, at a dollar store or something, real cheap. And it hangs over the door. You can see there's a rope. I have the rope hooked around the coat rack on the inside. And this was a great place to hang our glasses, sunglasses, lanyards, a lot of these kind of little miscellaneous. I used it for my morning, the stuff I would need to grab in the morning, so I knew it was all there. So I wasn't searching through the room before leaving and waking up Lily. Next item is these magnetic hooks. Now, we bought these on Amazon. I want to say it was less than 10 bucks, and we got a package of like 25 of them, way more than we needed for the cruise. But as you can see, they're great for hanging up hats, bags, handbags, money belts, any kind of miscellaneous items like that you may want to hang. And aside from that, we found another use for them, and you'll see in this video. So as you can see, I have the room dark right now. Needed the lights off for a reason. But one of the things they have done is put night lights in the room. Now, this one right outside the bathroom is one. It has a motion sensor. So when you get up at night and go to the bathroom, it's going to come on. What we did to essentially defeat the motion sensor, and it worked 99% of the time, was take a napkin and use 4 of the magnetic hooks to hold it up and block the sensor. Now, some of the other night lights, or one of the other ones they have, is at the bottom of the nightstands. And you'll see here when I get it turned on that when you get up in the night, there's also a motion detector on the light, or on a little light strip at the bottom of the nightstands, and it will come on as well. This was easily defeated as well with one of the pillows off the bed. When we went to sleep, we would just set the pillow down in front of the nightstand. Doing that blocks the sensor so it doesn't trigger it when you get up. Just a couple more tips for you. One final item I wanted to cover before wrapping this up is the laundries. I forgot to do that on my Island Princess walk. So here is the laundry or one of the laundries, self-serve laundry on the Majestic. One of the nice things about these ships, the last 2 princess ships, this one in the island at least, they had self-service laundry facilities. So you're not stuck having to pay for the ship to do your laundry if you want to do laundry. You can come in here, you use your medallion to get tokens. The machine is coming up here on the right for the medallions, or to get the tokens. And if I remember right, it was $3 for a wash and $3 for a dry. And you can see you can also get detergent and softeners here. So that wraps up this video. As always, I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider clicking the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos or get notified when they come out, click the subscribe button with the notification bell on. We wish you all a safe and happy travels, and we look forward to seeing you on our next video.